The leads you're coming across are shit. I'm talking about just poo-poo. Maybe the FICOs are too low. You get disconnected numbers. There's just a whole wide range of reasons why they're poo-poo. But I'm going to share with you what you could do if your leads are poo-poo. So follow along. If this is your first time visiting Sales Remastered, thank you for the attention. If after this video I earned your respect and credit, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and checking out the other channels that Sales Remastered is on. Chances are you have a profile on those platforms. So I'll leave links below the video, and I'll also leave a link to the sales script that I have. Been very helpful to a lot of people who signed up. I'm getting great feedback on how it's enabled them to open up the conversation and keep control of the conversation. And I want to dive in about, well, what happens if if you don't necessarily have the right leads to even pitch a product to. And so what my man was talking about, and this one of my followers, his name's Mitsu. What's up, Mitsu? If you're watching this one's for you. And he reached out to me. He's like, hey man, I'm having some trouble. I'm just running across this string of leads that lately it just seems like I'm fishing at the bottom of the barrel. And that's likely to happen because it's just a sign of the times. And so those who have been declined or been getting declined, they'll respond to anything that actually responds back to them, right? And so they might have done an online inquiry within the last 6 months, been declined a bunch of times. But consumers are not like you and I. They don't understand, the guidelines. They believe that, well, I've been making my payments on time. Isn't that good enough? They don't understand the whole concept of FICO scores and, qualifying factors and ability to repay verification, things like that. And so we have to kind of adapt to the modern time and understand that these are what is left. And so he asked me, he's like, well, what do I do? What's your recommendation on generating new leads? And I have just a bunch, but what I will share with you in this episode is a direct path to probably the absolute lowest hanging fruit that you have. And it's going directly to your sales manager and asking them if you can solicit some of the departed agent's pipeline, meaning that any agent who used to work here, who no longer works here anymore, all their past funded loans and their past clients, I'd like to do a courtesy check-in or courtesy follow-up to those clients to let them know that we're still here, even though this agent is gone. And what happens is your manager may not be privy to it, or they may not even really look at it, because they won't understand the concept. But when you figure out what buckets, we'll call them buckets per se, to focus your time on, then you're going to see the traction, you'll see the results. And usually those buckets are, we'll call it departed agents. And those are sales agents who used to work for your company, no longer work for your company, but their past clients are still with your company. And then you have what's called retreads or rewrites. And this is past loans. It could be from someone who's there already. Maybe you got a purchase agent who does a lot of purchases. They don't like refinances, or vice versa, right? Like someone who does a lot of refinances, they don't like purchases. Well, you got to adapt and, be compatible with what's in demand. And the reason why it's easier to go after those clients, or which is basically your existing portfolio, or those who worked with you before. Portfolio is referring to if they currently are with you, like they make their monthly mortgage payment to you, and let's say your picture is on that mortgage statement. And you're hoping your manager is going to be able to kind of siphon through that information, because not all of it is something that you can call out on. And also consider a bucket that's called retention. And your company or your mortgage company should have access to some data where, they have to report to a credit bureau if they've ever been part of a payment history. And so if someone that they wrote a loan for, let's just say a year ago, 2 years ago, or even 3 years ago, did an inquiry on their credit, your lender would have to report, meaning they say, oh yeah, the month of March 2016 they were on time, and that becomes a trigger notice. Well, if your company was fortunate enough to at least give you that notification, you can call in, but you don't want to call in and say, hey, we found someone pulled your credit. We noticed someone pulled your credit, because that's just going to give them the impression that you're monitoring their credit. And they don't want you to be monitoring their credit. They're going to feel like they have to pay you for it. Like, what are you doing looking at my social? So you got to be a little bit covert. You got to be a little bit smooth about it. And what I like to use is a courtesy checkup, like a courtesy check-in. And what this does, especially around the timing of the year right now, is everything is all about the new guidelines, the new updates, the new tax reform, the new set of rules that's enabled homeowners to leverage their newfound equity to remove themselves out of government loans or remove themselves out of needing mortgage insurance. And since they've done business with you before as a complimentary feature, you're simply reaching out to them to let them know what they may be eligible for now. And since they've worked with you before, you have options that are courtesy, meaning that you can waive the lender fee. And ultimately what you're doing is, of course, you're just building it into their interest rate, right? And so you at the end of the conversation, when you present it, you just say, this is the complimentary offer. However, I got a question for you. Since you mentioned it was important to do A, B, and C, I also put this option together for you. And then that's how you slip in your actual pitch. But there's least resistance there, because as I mentioned in my first video, the one I shot today before this one, is that you have momentum going in any engagement, any conversation, and that momentum is heading in a direction. And so if the caller that you're calling out on, and this doesn't necessarily just apply to retreads or rewrites, this also applies to even inbounds or outbound calls. And when you're trying to kind of penetrate their attention span so you can get a couple more minutes to ask them a few more questions, one of the easiest things to do is just kind of read that momentum, read that direction. And so if the caller, the person that you're talking to, if they're trying to rush off the phone like they don't got time, match that tone. But oh yeah, no worries. To be honest with you, I'm actually heading to another meeting. I just need to confirm it's on its way and it's going to go to this email. So before I go into this meeting and I'm unable to give you a call because I have a ton of appointments today, I need to make sure that this is the correct email. So I'm going to send it out your way, and once you receive it, just reply back so I can make note here in the system. Otherwise, our customer service representatives are going to continuously call you. So I need to make sure that this reaches you so that you have the information. It's going to come to you to your email, and if you'd like to set up an appointment, I'm always here. And so you see how it's always like it's not a sale, right? It's like, hey, it's on its way. It's It's ship a sale. And what you're doing is just making them, getting to that point where they're just like, okay, cool. Yes, the email is correct. Okay, great. I'm going to go and send that out to you now. It's going to have your street address in the subject line. Do me a favor, reply back. Let me know you got it. It's going to be very generic. And if you like, I can actually put together a little bit of a better mold for you to be a little bit more tailored and custom fit. And I can actually release out another option that shows you how to maximize your monthly savings. It will actually show you how to create more cash flow so that you have the flexibility to pay down your principal at a faster pace, or you can pay off debt, other debt items besides the mortgage. Did you want me to send that to you also? And when they say yeah, say, okay, great, I'm going to go ahead and send that as well. And just so I can make note here, did you intend using that savings towards credit card debt or towards paying the principal balance off on the mortgage sooner? And then they're going to tell you one of the two. If they say that they're going to pay off other debt, it opens up the next question and say, okay, cool, just so I can make note here, how much total revolving debt do you have to pay? Oh, I got about 30 grand that I'm trying to pay down. Okay, so you're paying above and beyond just the interest only, or the minimum payment, right? They're gonna say, yeah. Okay, cool. So how much is that total monthly payment? That total monthly payment is like $1,000. Now we got them, right? Now we can start asking other questions. Oh, I see. And because you put $1,000 in credit card debt, how much does that leave you with at the end of each month? And they're gonna say nothing. Now you're actually framing them in a point where they're in a state of need. Say, okay, cool, we got this new program or product that I think will help you. I'm gonna go and send that one out to you. Real quick question though, has anything changed, since we last talked to you? If this is someone you talk to with regards to income, credit, things like that. And you now already have the leverage because you understand that they're putting $1,000 towards these debt items that you could possibly help them pay off. Now, on the flip side, if they said that, oh, I plan to put the extra cash flow towards the principal balance, and say, okay, great, congratulations. Not too many actually do that. You'd be amazed how many houses are living check to check. So I salute you for having the discipline and the responsibility of doing such. Just out of curiosity, how much are you sending above and beyond the payment? And so then they'll tell you, oh, I'm sending $300. And then you make a quick note and say the maximum payment is X amount of dollars. And then what you could do is say, hey, you know what? I think I can help you. I can help you shave some years off this loan. I'll send you another alternative option that's going to show you how to pay the house off in 20 years versus 28 years. And I did the math, and what you do is go 8 times 12, right? So that will configure how many monthly payments over that 8 years you cut off, and then you go the 12 times the interest payment, or technically the principal and interest payment, right? Let's say by paying it off this much sooner, you're actually cutting out X amount of dollars in monthly payments, and you're paying it off in this year versus that year. And this will be in line for when you retire or whatever goal that they had in mind. And now you see how everything is moving along, and you're always kind of reminding them, okay, cool, let me go ahead and send that out to you. I'm gonna send it to this email. One quick question before I send it out. You see how that works? It's always, you're all you're doing is just extracting enough information to where you can find leverage. Now, not all of them are gonna have leverage, right? You're gonna come across Jim who has a 900 FICO and doesn't even go up that high, but they got a 900 FICO. They got 10% LTV. They're one of the originals who got like a 2.99 15-year fixed. And so you don't want to waste your time in convincing, Jim to give up his 2.99 to go back to a 30-year fix at 4.5 because you can defer his payment. You got to be selective with your time and make sure that you're focusing your time and energy where it's needed most. And if you're coming across leads that just simply don't cut it or just simply do not pass, consider your alternatives, but still farm those leads who don't have good credit right now or who are unable to do it right now. Do your diligence and give them some great advice that will help them, and then go in for a referral. Go in for, well, you may have friends or family that also needs this helpful information that I shared with you. If you can, I'm going to forward you over my information. Please send it out or maybe post it to your Facebook and let them know the information I shared with you. If there's anyone else you care about, like your friends, your family, your coworkers, who could also use this honest advice and this help, please let me know. But right now is not your time. Don't let anybody tell you different. You know what I mean? And really hook them up with some information that can help them. And that value, it creates reciprocity, which basically means that they want to return the favor and do you one solid. So maybe they might forward your information or have their neighbor or their bingo buddy give you a call. And when they do, then you go right back the line, you start all over again, and you lead them into your pipeline. All right, so I hope this episode helps. Me too. Try that out and let me know your feedback. Leave me some notes and tell me if you're getting any resistance from your own sales manager or your company for calling out on their past funded loans. And then maybe I can help you create another idea to generate more lead traffic. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.